The Qatar Masters Open 2014 played between November 25th and December 5th, 2014. The strongest rated Open tournament ever. It's my understanding in the history of the world. Huge field. Former world champions, dozens and dozens of GMs all over the world. South America, United States, Europe, even all the big players in Russia, including Vladimir Kramnik, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, big players from China, you name it. It's a great tournament. Don't miss any of the action. Games coming up. Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Round 6 of the Qatar Masters Open 2014. One of the strongest opens ever in the history of chess. It's a huge field from all over Europe, Russia, United States, you name it, everywhere. There's the field is just tremendous. Couldn't go through all the names. Anyway, this is a game from round 6 of Vladimir Kramnik from Russia, a former world champion as white. I'm sure I'm going to butcher this name. Sjugirov, something like that. He's from Russia as well. I'm sure I butchered his name, so try to be nice to me in the comment section. Anyway, let's get to it. It's going to be a ready opening. Kramnik is white and Sjugirov is black. We're going to go through the first few moves here in the opening. Pretty much standard ready stuff. Queen e1. Sometimes you go c4 and then e6. After queen e1, that's a pretty good move there. What that does, it stops the pin and guards the e-pawn. e5. Now you can go e4 without any problems. Bishop d6. h3, kicking the bishop. Bishop comes back. And this is where I think Kramnik is going into a line. Maybe he prepared for this. I'm not really sure. E takes d5. Knight to h4 is now coming up on the computer, and that's what Kramnik played. Kramnik always very well prepared. Castles. g4 hitting the bishop. Bishop goes back. Now, this almost looks like a reverse King's Indian setup. Usually you see the pawns not so far advanced for white, but I'll tell you the truth, white's king looks very secure there. No problems at all for white. Tiny minute advantage for black on the computer off screen. Nothing to really speak of. g5, just hit the knight. Knight goes to h5. E takes. C takes. Knight takes that bishop. H takes. It still looks solid for white on the king side. Bishop's here. This pawn's going to come up to guard this pawn. Your queen's right in the vicinity as well. The only thing is he's going to get this knight over here. Bishop takes. Knight to f4. Bishop takes. Pawn takes. Now white's up a pawn, but I think he's a little bit more exposed now. His king anyway. Doesn't have the minor pieces around to protect him anymore. So he goes h4, of course, to protect that g-pawn. Queen takes. The game's over. Queen to c8. Looking to move the knight. Either here or here. And then this queen can come down. Queen to e4. Trying to put the kibosh on that. He gives up the pawn. Knight to c3. Now, shows a third of a pawn advantage for black, but I'll be honest with you. I play white here all day. Looks like a lot easier to play. Queen takes. He gets greedy. Queen takes. And of course we can see that pin there is a monster. What to do? What to do? Bishop. Knight to e4. Here we go. Go through a lot here. First, looking at the check. If this queen moves, knight takes, pawn takes. That's it. He's doomed. This pawn's going to start coming up. Queen to e5. Computer like rook a to d8, to be honest with you. But black went queen to e5. Now this is strange. Very weird position indeed. Bishop comes back to b3. Now, this is a move that came totally out of the blue for Kramnik. See if you can find it. It's a really, really hard move to find. It's not even in the top 4 choices of the computer. And Kramnik was a little bit ahead on time. I watched it. If you want to go to livestream.com and put in Qatar Chess Masters, I believe it's under, you'll see all the rounds and the videos from it. But see if you can figure out what Black's move is here that makes Kramnik go in about a 20-minute think. And the move is Bishop takes f2. Now the two commentators, they don't like to use the computer, so they're going through all the variations for White, what to do here. Right now it's a little over a 1.25 advantage for White, but that shot came out of the blue, and it's not as easy as you think. It's fairly complicated. a5 was the computer's choice. Then rook A, hitting the queen, knight checks, rook takes, pawn takes, queen takes, knight takes, with a pretty good advantage for White, about a point. But after Bishop takes f2, Kramnik sat for a good 20 minutes. Very good 20 minutes. I think the kid was going for it. The young Russian that was playing Kramnik. He looked fairly young, early 20s. Knight takes f2 was the correct move, and that's what Kramnik did. I'll tell you, Kramnik's in his 40s, but he's still a monster. He's still one of the best players in the world. f3, just to close down. Now, of course, the threat is queen checks, king, and then mate. So he's got to do something about that, and he does. Knight to e4. Kramnik finds the moves. Finds the moves. Now, what would you do here as Black? Computer likes queen to b2, threatening mate. Queen to b2, queen mates. And it might have been under pressure. I'm not really sure what happened here. He decided to go queen to d4 check. And now the computer's over, 4-point advantage, over close to 5 now for White. If he had gone queen to b2, rook takes, queen takes, and now the bishop isn't pinning that pawn. So next move is pawn takes, or White just moves the queen, and then Black moves the queen, one of the two. That was probably his only way to survive. After queen to d4, though, Kramnik thought for a while. Perfect move. King to h1. Queen to b2. Threatening mate again. And now, knight to f6 check. What a monster that is. And that's where Black resigned. It was a hell of a shot by the kid from Russia as Black against Kramnik. Of course, Kramnik, former world champion in his 40s, still a monster player. Give you an idea what would have happened, of course. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen checks, queen takes, pawn takes, king takes. And White's up a full piece. And that's the way it is. Anyway, folks, that's the action from round 6 of the Qatar, I believe it's pronounced, Masters Open 2014. Heck of a game. Trying to get some other games from this big Open as well. And I want you all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.